On the contrary. Because we accept good things, Catholic things, coming from the mouth of the Romans, as the Archbishop said, out of Rome. Reject non-Catholic or Romish teaching. But this, of course, in practice, we want to try and avoid having the modern priests in our churches doing our weddings, but occasionally it can be good, even desirable. So months of going back to the boys, I said, listen, I'm sorry, but in good faith, I cannot accept this false principle upon which the other concessions are founded. If modern bishops want to recognise their marriages, fine, doesn't change anything. If the Pope does, as for our confessions, fine, doesn't change, etc. But to base these things on a false principle, no, because principles are important. Once the principles disappear, everything tumbles. So think about, for example, St. Peter's group, very attached to traditional Mass and ceremonies and the Catholic and all these good things, and yet their congregation is based upon two concessions of principle. One is that they accept the doctrinal legitimacy of the new Mass and Vatican II. So, although they try to be traditional, once you've accepted the modern things, well, you've accepted the modern things, that's it, you see. So, after a few months of anguish, no doubt, communication with priests and trying to write letters to Menzinger, telling this and so on, saying, in the end, I said, well, I think it's more honourable and simple to say, I resign, than to pretend I accept these things which I don't, or to come to accept them truly which I could not, or to sit on the sideline and say, well, I disagree with all these things, as long as I can avoid them myself in person, having the modern bishop or delegation, whatever, I'll be okay. And some priests chose to do that, which is, I understand, but the problems are still ongoing. The actual concessions made by Menzinger back then are very much there. And so priests, in some ways, who indefinitely just hang on for reasons of personal security, whatever, actually end up by condoning the compromise of principle. That's the big problem. And so in France it's interesting because a number of religious houses, Franciscans, Benedictines, Transfiguration and others, as well as some of the important society priests, signed a public letter saying they could not accept these new compromised marriage directives and acceptance of the flawed Roman letter of March last year. Those priests were all punished. They were all demoted, sent away, exiled, locked up, and so on. There you go, that's what happens if you... But the religious houses have a bit more autonomy. They have their own structure, their own superiors, their own houses. So they're surviving well, having said, well, we cannot accept these things. We'll continue as before, we can't, fine. But the squeeze is on. So, for example, some of these houses, they say, oh, well, you're being naughty because you're not going along with these new things, therefore we will not ordain your subjects to the priesthood, for example. Or if we do it, we'll do it in private, but not at the cone, not in public, because you're not following the new innovations. That's what's happening. So, it's interesting to be close to these religious houses, because they give hope as well. And in France, a number of priests who to date thought about if there was a false deal with Rome, in addition to already the false deals, by placing tradition under Rome by personal prelature, then that would be the final straw for them. They would leave, regroup, would try and continue the Archbishop's legacy and so on, well, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 priests, and so on. Now, what's happened in conclusion? Since the chapter, things have gone quiet. Now, of course, priests in August are away, some apostolates, pilgrimages, perhaps a holiday, family and so on, home. And so I've not had much contact with a number of priests, but those I've had contact with, disappointingly, are saying, well, we should wait further because it's a new team, in spite of the weaknesses of the chapter as explained, and therefore, yes, we can hope that eventually. And the danger is the time they become conditioned, and those very things which they were campaigning against last year, they come to accept this year. And who knows what the next year is a danger in waiting too long, that you become conditioned, and like some priests who are not going on with these things, they're just being more and more ostracized, demoted, exiled, locked up, and so on. And that's it. So that's why yours truly is in France, but not, I must say, having a holiday, in that a lot of time is spent travelling around. The last few weeks I've been Hungary, Slovakia, Belgium, conferences, masses, there's some Belgian people here this morning, retreats, contacts, travelling. 3 days ago I was in the south of France for the 70th priestly anniversary, 70th priestly anniversary of Père Gabriel, who's very solid, and not at all in with modern Menzinger, and so on. So much of the time is now spent, but it's not in the caravan, it's travelling around, oftentimes by bus, because it's a cheaper way of travelling. So I've got these 11, 12-hour bus rides. You can pray, you can sleep, you can use their Wi-Fi, sometimes you can, and so on. Visiting groups of faithful like yourselves in France, in Belgium, in Switzerland, and elsewhere, who are precisely, they see the issues, they see the problems, and they didn't leave their modern parishes to find themselves back under the modern bishops. So that's the dilemma which we're going through. Hence you're in this quite the fine church hall as was before, with Gothic windows and all sorts, and fine, that's it. But that's the drama in which we're living. So those are a few words about those 3 points as an overview, and probably should stop there because we're all dying of hunger and thirst, and I'm sure I've answered all your questions perfectly without them being asked. Shall we stop there perhaps and say we can finish with the Angelus? We're happy to shake you by the hand over a cup of tea and all that.